Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of the universe, this is Roster Watch. My name is Alex Dunlap. I'm joined by Cody Carpentier. And Cody, we're back home from the draft house with our good friends from Player Profiler. Hope you guys enjoyed the pick by pick coverage of all 7 rounds. I'm sure that if you watch that, you have a lot of our ideas about the takes that we had. But if you're just kind of getting back into things here and you got your rookie drafts kicking off and kind of haven't heard what we've said, man, like we got a lot to get to as far as, the fallout of the actual NFL draft here on the podcast. Cody, I thought the way we could do it is I've started out doing some rookie mock drafts. We do have version 1.0 and version 1.1 uploaded yesterday to the site of the Roster Watch Dynasty rookie cheat sheets. Version 1.0 for Superflex, tight end premium, and then also for traditional one quarterback leagues are up. And as I'm starting to do rookie drafts, I'm realizing I think it's good. I think that as we were constructing this thing during the draft and then on day 3, kind of just trying to figure out what makes sense and where we would take guys, I think it's good, but I'm looking across consensus. I'm looking across X, people's takes flying all over the place. And then, just over on Fantasy Pros, it's like if you look at the expert consensus, there's stuff that people just have different than we have. And I want to make sure that we're leveraging ADP at all times, even if we're still going to want to kind of reach and maybe get some of our guys. I don't know, man. How do you feel about everything? You feel good to be home? Did you gain about 7 pounds eating all of Billy's food?
Dude, I actually brought home some of that leftover chili, and I had chili again last night. I had some chili dogs. So I was also sent home with like 100, 200 pounds worth of food and 250 beers. So I'm going to be eating good and drinking good for the next, 2 months.
You might not be losing any of that weight we put
I'm
on.
not. Yeah, I mean, I gotta get back out on this greenway and start running again. But I made it home. Little car ride. Almost fell asleep in the car, but we made it home and unpacked, set up, and we're back in these boxes, Alex. We're back in the boxes talking about these rookies, and the cheat sheets went live on Roster Watch. Late last night, early this morning, and my first thought was, man, we've been talking about this like 108, 112 area if you can get out of the first round. And when I was looking at the cheat sheet, I was thinking, man, if you got that 108 and you got that 112, I want to get out of the first round even more than what we've even talked about the last 2 months.
There's so much to get to. So I think that what we should do is, like I said, I'm only right now I'm drafting in 3 dynasty rookie drafts right now, and in doing them, it's just it isn't enough volume to start getting the idea of ADPs. These rookie drafts I'm in are with expert rookie drafts, I guess you would call it, man. It's all people that create content and do all this stuff. And so they're going to have their own ideas. They're going to, they're going to have their guys. And, I don't feel like it's the best sample. Of course, we're going to continue doing sims with the new ADP data that comes in. I think it's interesting looking at the Fantasy Pro stuff because they have at least like 30 people factored into that. And we know that people are going to use those rankings. I figure let's go through 2 rounds of a super flex tight end premium mock here. And this is it, as if we're on the board at each pick and we're forced to take the pick, what we would do when we're actually forced to have to come to a decision. And I think that can help me with taking some notes to inform what I need to do to make sure that we're leveraging ADP for each one of these picks and not reaching too far, but still able to get our guys.
All right, let's do it. You want to start this thing off at the 101?
Yeah, all right. So 101, we have Ashton Genty going to the Raiders. That's going to stay as the 101. I don't think anybody's going to have any issues with that.
Pretty clear cut. All right, Ashton Genty. 102. I love Omari Hampton. We've always loved Omari Hampton, but I've had like a little bit of a realization that happens when you're driving in a car for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours. And I had one yesterday of just sitting there and thinking about missing out on Travis Hunter. And what I've said is, in this class, I view all these receivers as like 2s. They're all 2s. And I think Tedero McMillan's in a spot where he's going to garner upwards of potentially 150, 160, 170 targets this year, and we'll talk about that for the next 6 months leading up to the season. But if I'm going to be mad at myself for missing on one player and passing on a player, it's going to be Travis Hunter, passing on a Travis Hunter, and I don't want to be the guy passing on Travis Hunter, so I'm going to take Travis Hunter here at the 102.
Yeah, you just freaked me out by saying it's 6 months until the season. It's more. It's really more like 3 months until we start getting preseason games.
You're right. In 6 months it'll be like Halloween. So you're right.
I was like, 6 months. We have to talk. We have to do this every day for 6 months, talking about a season that's yet to come. All right. So with the cheat sheet, what it has right now is we're in line, at least for now, with the cheat sheet. It would allow you right now to either take Omarion Hampton or Cam Ward in Superflex. I think that's probably right. I think for me, I hate being quarterback poor in Superflex. I'm gonna go Cam Ward. I'm gonna go with the quarterback here. So Cam Ward, first overall pick in the actual NFL draft to the Tennessee Titans. It'll be the third overall pick here in this Superflex rookie draft.
Warren Moon gave him number 1.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Pretty important. Interesting. I think you could tell yourself a story about these quarterbacks, and I'll be interested to see where Shook and Dart go in this mock right here, but I'm not going that direction. I'm going to go Travion Henderson here at the 104.
So you're taking Travion over Omarion Hampton?
I'm taking Travion over Omarion Hampton because Henderson is the best pass protector in the draft. He was the best pass catcher in the draft. He's the dynamo at the running back position. I love Omarion Hampton. They did pay Najee. He's going to be splitting the carries with Najee this year unless Najee goes down. And we're not going to get the full-blown Omarion Hampton experience unless an injury happens until the earliest next year, and potentially it not be till the following year, depending on how long Najee is on this roster. We've seen guys have resurgences like Joe Mixon and J.K. Dobbins this last year. So I love Omarion. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have him, but I'm going to go with something that we've experienced recently, and that's the Christian McCaffrey, the Jahmyr Gibbs body type, ability. And I think Travion Henderson in that New England offense, with Ramondre being the battering ram, the David Montgomery, between the tackle grinder, it's going to allow Travion to not have to handle the ball 25 times, but handle it 12 to 18 times a game and get elite high-end output out of that. So I'm going to go Travion here, 104.
I don't think we can do that on the sheet.
Why?
Even just because that would mean that we're completely out on Omarion Hampton.
Is he the consensus? I mean, right. I mean, the consensus is early right now. It's April 28th, right? It's not
right. So like his average right now, early consensus is pick 3.9 according to Fantasy Pros, whereas Travion's is 8.1.
Really?
Yeah.
So so I haven't looked at any of these ADPs. So you're saying Quinshawn is probably ahead of Travion?
Nope. No, he's
Quinshawn's not ahead of Travion?
No. Travion, well, even though I'm sorry, his average ranking among Fantasy Pros rankers is 8.1. But as far as where he would go right now with that average ranking would be player 6. So you're talking about player 3 versus player 6.
Genty, Hampton, was it Tet? Cam?
Yep.
Who else?
Genty, Cam, Hampton, Hunter, Tet, Travion.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't want to be swindled on Hampton, but
I think in order to get both, we got to keep it like it is right now. I want both those guys. And the thing is, we don't have Tet in the mix here. So we're gonna get more of both of these guys if we have both of them ahead of Tet. And we're gonna need to have the discussion about when Tet does come into the picture, because to be completely honest, I think I'm taking 3 more running backs before I'm interested in considering Ted McMillan.
You're taking Omarion Hampton right here, aren't you?
Yes. I'm taking Omarion Hampton with the next pick. Yeah.
Okay. You would have taken him ahead of Travion because that's what we have on the sheet right now, right?
I think you put a gun to my head. I think I'm taking Omari Hampton. I had him ranked higher the whole time. I don't
Agreed.
think I don't think the situation. I don't think this. I love the situation for Travion. I don't love the situation as much for Omari and Hampton.
I just don't want to miss. I mean, I just think we're missing out on potentially like
we're gonna get a lot of Travion Henderson as long as we don't put Ted McMillan into the mix here.
and like think about this from a dynasty perspective in that if Travion is in the like I know this is I'm thinking like high end here, but if he's in a Jahmyr Gibbs role and he gets 12 to 18 touches a game and he's averaging, 16, 18, 20 fantasy points a game, that dynasty value is going to shoot up directly to top 5 dynasty running back overall, top 4, right? He's going to be right up there next to Genti and Jahmyr Gibbs and stuff. He will. It's just facts.
And there's not really a way for Omarion to get there this year without an injury. I mean,
Bingo.
that makes sense.
Bingo.
It's really hard.
It's a great class.
For now, I think for now, it's tough to break ADP because I don't want to be all the way out on Omari and Hampton in Dynasty.
Exactly.
It feels like being like all the way out on like a Jonathan Taylor or something.
Well, we don't want to do that.
So I think for now we leave it how it is, and if these ADPs start getting different and they start converging to where we can make that flip without it making us be completely out on one or the other, then I think it's fine because I want people to have both of these guys.
All right, 106. I think this is interesting because, like I just told you, how I feel about Tet and his targets this year. He'll be the number 1 in Carolina. But you look at the Caleb Johnson rule, even though it's 3rd round draft capital, he should be plugged right into Najee's rule. And if he stays healthy, he'll feast. He'll have 1,200 yards rushing. And Quinshawn, I think without Caleb Johnson would be a universal take right here. And potentially, I could tell you a story like I just did about Travion. I could tell you the same story about Quinshawn if he was not sharing a backfield with a Dylan Sampson.
Well, so how much do we factor in that Dylan Sampson thing with the Quinshawn? Because
you have to. He's literally the leading rusher in the SEC. Like this is kind of a nightmare.
No, I don't think it's a night. They went to Cleveland, where it's I mean, everybody's joining a committee. It's just that this committee is going to be 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody joins some kind of committee.
Well, no.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, yeah, but Travion Henderson, you wouldn't say Travion Henderson and Ramondre is like, I'm not the most worried about Ramondre. Like, he's a grinder, but I know I'm going to get the high value touches.
I'm not either.
Huh?
I'm not worried about Ramondre either. I think he stinks.
But I'm worried about Dylan Sampson because we both know he's good. And he's in the same rookie class. And yes, the draft capital was like a round difference or 2 rounds difference. 2 rounds difference.
2.
But he's the yin and the yang. It's I don't think it's quite similar to Quinshawn and Travion this past year at Ohio State, but it's kind of similar. And they both have the ability to do the same exact thing.
Okay. So, but then the question is, you want Caleb Johnson more than you want? I mean, it's not like do you worry more about Dylan Sampson than you worry about Jaylen Warren?
No. I think that, and this is the thing is, even though Tomlin came out like a week ago and was like, Jaylen Warren's RB1. Yeah, he was RB1 at the exact time that he was talking. So he was never lying. And we know one thing about Mike T is like, dude, this 225-pound running back is going to show up, and there's no way in hell he's going to just be like, yo, Jaylen Warren, you're getting 20 carries a game. No, that's going to be Caleb. He's going to literally be the Najee Harris role unless they think he sucks. And this offensive line's only getting better and better and better.
And he doesn't, right?
Exactly.
I mean, Pittsburgh's a very heavy outside zone team. It's like Caleb's a sick outside zone runner.
So, like, I love the athlete. I love everything about Quinshawn. That offensive line, though, is like, it's getting hairy as it ages. And Dylan Sampson's there. And if we're being quite frank, that offense really is not scary from a passing perspective at all. So everybody knows they're going to run the football. It's like, I just,
Does RJ Harvey not come into the conversation here either? Because he's gonna be in the bucket, I think, with Quinshawn, Caleb, and RJ Harvey. Now that RJ Harvey goes to Denver and gets the absolute nuts landing spot with Sean Payton.
I think he does. I saw a very scary tweet yesterday from a historical perspective for 23-year-old running backs drafted in the second round in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Kenny Irons, Daniel Thomas, Brian Leonard, Carlos Hyde, Montario Hardesty, Toby Gerhart, RJ Harvey.
So we're not happy he has second round draft capital now. I mean,
for that stat, I wish he would have filled to the third. No, I think RJ Harvey is going to be great. I thought Sean Payton had all glowing things to say about him in that post draft press conference. So
he just said in that thing, he's like at a certain point we just realized that we weren't going to get Ashton Genty, so we're just like why do we even keep watching tape on him? And so that's when we turned our attention to RJ Harvey. They were glad to get him. They really wanted him, right? Yeah. Like they really wanted him. That's why people saw it as a reach. We're like, man, that's not a reach. That's why if you've been listening to us and looking at our rookie rankings and making your plans, like we've kept on talking about it. It's like we hate taking RJ Harvey to 201 because it feels like you can take him at the 2-3 turn, or at just not at the but they're late round 2 early round 3. We're like, but it's like if you've watched the shows or listened on the podcast, it's what we've done consistently. So,
I just can't use a high draft capital on him. That's the thing. I just can't do that.
So does Tet come into the conversation here?
Yeah, I'm taking Tet right here.
Okay.
I said all this about Quinshawn and Caleb just so I could say that I'm taking Tet right here. I can't ignore the targets. Listen, we've talked about Tetairoa McMillan on here. I'm not the biggest fan of Tetairoa McMillan, but he got top 10 draft capital, even though I didn't think he deserved it. And he's going to go down to Carolina. And as long as his head is screwed on and he's there to play football, I think Bryce Young is going to absolutely feed him. And I think the minute he walks into Charlotte, he's the best receiver on the roster and the best receiving option on the roster, and maybe the best talent on the offense. So it's going to go through him. I'm not sure I'll be able to, I think Byron asked me the question. We're standing poolside at the house when he came, and he's like, "Man, which one of these rookies really gets you going? Really tightens your pants the most?" And I said, like, the one that I can't get out of my mind is this Tetairoa McMillan situation, and the fact that he's literally just going to get annihilated with targets. And it was last year was you can't leave a draft without Malik Neighbors. Like I'll be interested to see where he ends up when we get to.
I can't believe you've gone from being a kind of a doubter of Pat McMillan to saying you can't leave a draft without him.
That's where I'm kind of getting.
Gosh, I hope his ADP.
Again, like I said, we're 3 months away from that conversation.
Yeah, no, we're less than that because we're gonna have to start putting together starting to like phase out the phase out the underdog best ball sheet and just start doing the redraft sheet probably in the middle of June. It's like we're a month and a half out.
Just let me live my life without Ted McMillan at the forefront for like another month. Don't talk about it.
Gosh. Okay, so I'm still taking Quinshawn Judkins over Caleb Johnson. I just am. Do I love the Dylan Sampson thing? No. But it's Quinshawn. We've done all the work on him. What it's like all the 1,000-yard seasons, the 40 that was so much faster than anybody thought it was. He's going to be the alpha. The offense is going to have to run it like they're going to have to run through the running game.
Yep.
They're having to rebuild right now. They're just the shakiest of all shaky quarterback situations. They have five guys now on the roster. I don't even know who's going to be the starter. There's probably going to be 3 of them that start throughout the course of the year. You'll have some Flacco, some Pickett, and then probably somebody between Gabriel and Shedeur is going to end up having to play too.
I'm going to take Caleb then. I think that's a tier break for me.
Okay, so Ted McMillan gets moved up. I think it's fine. Now in tight end premium, I want to take RJ Harvey here, but should there be a discussion between RJ Harvey and Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren and stuff here and tight end premium? I kind of think there has to be, and I think that could be a little bit lower.
Should Dart it's Superflex. Should Dart be in that conversation as well?
So in Superflex, actually, Dart is on the fantasy pros. Their ECR, he's going off at 7, but there's no way. Zero.
He has
chance.
to be there.
What?
He has to be in that conversation.
No. He's
with the level of tier break. Like I said, I think this is a tier breaker. After
when's he going to start?
What do you mean? When's he going to start?
When's his first start?
How is the season going? It all depends on how the season goes. Because this is their guy. This is Dayball's guy. Everything we've learned here is that this is Dayball's guy, and Shane pulled the right strings.
Joe and Dayball are going to get fired if the season goes sideways enough to have to put in Jackson Dart early.
Yeah, I don't think if this. So my feel right now is that Russ is a starter, and if Russ loses the job during the season, it'll go to Dart because they're not doing good. The only way Jameis is anything,
and then the whole staff
beats out Russ during training camp,
and then the whole staff gets fired, and the new organization comes in, and Dart's not their guy.
Wait, what?
And then everybody gets fired.
They're not getting fired.
You think that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are completely insulated from getting fired if the season goes haywire?
Well, it would have to be severe. Like it would have to be a 4-13. In this division, I think that they're good enough. I think they're good enough to win 7, 8, 9 games. And their defense is good enough that it can, give them another +1 onto that. They could be in the running for a wild card, depending on this.
It's the same division with the. It's the same division with a team that just went to the Final Four, and then another one that just won the Super Bowl.
Correct. So it's like I think the Mariners understand it's not going to be like the easiest thing in the world, and I think they also see Arch is 2 years away, not 1 year away.
Dude, there's no way you could take Jackson Dart here.
I don't understand why not. It's super flex.
I know, and I'm the one that says I don't want to be
neighbors.
Why not?
It's not like he's going to Cleveland where he's got no weapons, or he's got like Jerry Jeudy. Like if the Browns took him at 233,
would take Jackson Dart and Superflex tight end premium over either of the tight ends.
In premium, no.
Okay, well, so you're going to take him over RJ Harvey and like Buka and Matthew Golden and stuff?
I want to have an option. I would personally want to have an option. This is where my brain goes directly between Harvey and Golden and Dart and Loveland. I would love that because I think this is a clear tier break after our top 8. And then right here, it's, I don't think it's quite a level playing field, but in Superflex, you have to have the
quarterback. You want a decision between Harvey, Golden, Dart, and Loveland?
Yes.
Does Golden belong in that conversation? Does Dart belong in that conversation?
It's Superflex, man. This is a guy that they love, and I think Daboll's smart enough that his system can get Dart to. If Dart picks this offense up fast enough, it would not be the shockingest thing in the world if he just beat Russ out. Would it?
No, I'd be slightly shocked.
Slightly, I agree.
All right. I think that all right. I'll change that for now. I'll change it for now. So delete row 19. Okay. So what are you gonna do then?
Well, you're on the clock. I took Caleb at the end of
Oh,
the tier break.
well, I want RJ Harvey.
Okay.
I think that are we like where's he going off right now? So he's going off at
112,
32 he's going off at the 201 right now.
201. That's what I
So
think he should be, but
na-
I wish I could get that value, but we've just gotten so nuked with a couple of these landing spots.
all right. Well, what do you have next?
All right, I'm going to take Dart. We're not doing premium, right? Or are we doing premium?
It is premium.
Okay, well then I'm taking Loveland. Colston Loveland, Chicago Bears here at the 110. I think, I love me some Luther Burden, but in the Chicago offense, he was, obviously used with that 10th overall draft capital, first 10 in off the board. I think about Cole Kmet walking after this year, or then moving off of him, and Loveland being that move tight end that I think we see play 30%, 25% in the slot, and maybe get like a, the galaxy brain of the Kelsey role. And he'll never garner those amounts of targets, but hopefully he gets some high value targets in the red zone, and he's an important piece that they can just continue to move around, and he can be Caleb Williams' most dependable target. But so much talent here that he even if he is his favorite target, other things will be open. I just love the offense overall. If I'm going to miss, I guess I'm going to miss on one of the most talented offenses in football with Ben Johnson.
So yeah, they can get out of Cole Kmet after the 2025. They can't do it from that,
after this year.
they can do it after that because he's only so next year he'll be owed 11.6 million. They can get out with only 3.2 dead cap.
They just gave him the extension before last year.
Huh.
It's like 3 year 50 or something.
If we're going by the 4 years 50. So if we're what I reasonably reasoned out was that this is where Matthew Golden goes, and you said you want a choice between. I think it's fair, a choice between Harvey, Golden, Dart, and Loveland. But before we talk about that, can we just talk about so Caleb Johnson and Quinshon Judkins? I don't feel like that doesn't break ADP to put Caleb Johnson ahead of Judkins in the same way because his average ranking is 10.4 versus Caleb, which is 11.8. They're kind of valued almost exactly the same. Everybody's having to make that decision.
So you're saying we should put Quinshon back ahead of him?
I never moved Caleb ahead of Quinshon.
Okay.
So
you're saying how we have it is fine.
If we wanted to move Caleb above Quinshon, we could. That's just something I'll need to write down to consider. Do you have a case to be made for that?
I thought I made it, given that I just believe in Mike Tomlin, and I know Mike Tomlin's going to give the ball to the guy that's the best running back. And that offensive line's better, and I'm worried about the Cleveland offensive line aging. It's getting hairy. They have no there's nothing that is that's preventing the defense from putting 8 men in the box more often than not against Cleveland. Like, you're not afraid of any of those quarterbacks right now. And the weaponry is like Njoku and Judy. And I love Cedric Tillman. I love him. But Cedric Tillman's not going to get respect we got to make sure we got 4 deep. No. You're looking at that offensive line, you go, okay, well, we've known them for running the football, and now they drafted Quinshon and Caleb Johnson, 2 1,000-yard rushers this last year, led the SEC, the back-to-back leading SEC rush. No, this is the identity has been run. It's going to continue to be run. And as much as they'll feed them, I think that Pittsburgh's just a better football team, and Caleb's going to get the lion's share because Tomlin's smart and going to do that. I don't know. That's just kind of maybe that's kind of a lazy, lame explanation, but it's pretty straightforward.
All right. Well, those
Even
two
though I think
obvious.
Quinshon's
Those two,
substantially better athlete, and I would generally prefer that, but
that ADP just needs to be monitored consistently, right? It just
just
needs.
like if you put Dylan Sampson in Pittsburgh, I'd be like Quinshon 100%. Or if it was roles reversed and it was Caleb in Cleveland with Dylan Sampson and Quinshon in Pittsburgh, it'd be like I mean, I might even be more bullish if it was Quinshon in Pittsburgh, you know?
There's the just the awesome scheme fit with Caleb too. You can just picture it, like you can, like his jersey even looks the same on film.
Colors.
All right.
All right. So you want Matthew Golden 111. I'm going to go with Dart at 112. So even that, you said ADP's 7 for Dart. We're getting him here at 12.
Okay.
So I like that. That's the second quarterback in round 1 for those listening on the pod that can't view it on YouTube. It was Genty, Hunter, Ward, top 3, and then Travian Henderson 104, followed by Omarion Hampton, Tedero McMillan, Quinshon Judkins, and Caleb Johnson, number 8. Number 9 was RJ Harvey. 10 was Colston Loveland, the first and only tight end in round 1. Matthew Golden, 111, and Jackson Dart, the second QB, goes off at 112.
I think the only responsible thing here is to take Tyler Warren.
Is his ADP? His ADP's got to be like what 8?
I don't have the availability to look at the tight end premium ADP. In non-tight end premium, it's 10. So this is still late on him.
Gotcha.
But I don't, dude. I want the RJ Harveys and the Quinshons and the Caleb Johnsons and stuff, man. I just do.
Yeah.
And I worry that just Tyler Warren going to Indy. I just worry it's like, what if that whole passing game just goes up in smoke?
Which it very well could.
It isn't like you have to really squint to picture it.
I'm a little worried about it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little worried about it.
But I just first round draft capital, true blue chip prospect. If the quarterback situation just goes to complete fodder, we know that they're going to have to do something eventually to address it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going. I think it's only responsible that we can't just have these tight ends, these 2 tight ends that go in the top 2 tight ends in the top 14 picks. We can't have them slipping too far into round 2 and super flex tight end premium.
All right. 202, I'm going to go with Mecca Egbuka, Tampa Bay, wide receiver, first round draft capital. Godwin just turned 29, got banged up this last year, even though he was prolific at the beginning. Evans is 31. He'll be 32 before the season kicks. They got Jalen McMillan, but it wasn't second round draft capital. So it might be a little bit of a waiting game here, but I do think Emeka Egbuka is going to be your starting slot receiver in Tampa this year. And by waiting game, I say waiting game for elite production.
So we're now at pick, 15?
Yep.
So Cam Scadaboo is going off now as pick 19. Jalen Milroe is going ahead of Tyler Shuck, which I guess I understand for Dynasty. I think that Tyler Shuck, if you're playing in a format like Fast Draft, where it's just you're drafting the rookies in the Origins draft for just next year, I prefer Shuck. I'm just not sure that Tyler Shuck in New Orleans is going to keep that job long term. But I think I think he plays more games next season than Milroe does, right? Whereas Milroe could pop up and win a job and go nuclear, and you have if he develops, right? If
Davis Mills plus,
if things go right for him, you could have Jalen Milroe go nuts, right? Whereas Tyler Shuck's never going to go nuts, but he's probably going to start you a lot more games next season. And so both those guys are kind of in the, I think I don't have it this way on the sheet, but I feel like I definitely need to change where Milroe is on this sheet currently for sure. So I'll make a note of that about Milroe. Luther Burden could be considered here. Does Shuck need to be considered here if I'm considering between Scadaboo and Luther Burden? I don't think that Shuck needs to be in consideration here.
Well, Shuck, I think Shuck is only in consideration if you're on a roster that is like, if you're like so you're picking the 203 right now, right? And that would generally mean in a draft like this that you are not a good team unless you've acquired this pick via trade and dynasty.
Right.
My thought process for a Shuck would be exactly kind of what you just explained in that, yeah, you got the great draft capital, but it would be for me in Dynasty if my team was, lost in the semifinals and my team's loaded to the gills, but I only have like 2 quarterbacks and they're volatile. Like I think of, yesteryear when I had a team with like Burrow and Kirk Cousins, and that was it in Dynasty. I'm like, well, I need like a third quarterback. I need a guy that I know is going to be on the football field this year, and I'm going to be able to plug him in on bye weeks, and I know I'm going to get some output from him. And I think that would be a spot that I would be able to spend a second round draft pick on him. But generally, if I'm just a bad football team, I'm going to definitely use that pick for a dynasty asset, something that I think can gain value and has better. I shouldn't say because Shook can gain value for sure. Second round quarterback, I get it, but gain value for me on my roster and like Luther Burden, like I've talked about, I think has maybe not as high of upside as Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, but like next, right?
Yeah.
Dylan Sampson. We've seen him rush for 1,400 yards in college. Like I know he's with Quinchon right now, but we've seen wilder stuff. I think you love Scadaboo. Scadaboo could beat out Tyrone Tracy in training camp, and he could be a menace from day one. Like these different things I think can help your roster quicker and potentially more likely longer.
All right. Well, so I'll take Burden in Chicago. It's like that's what the cheat sheet says to do. I think that's probably right. I'll be interested to see what you do because the sheet also gives you an option for Scadaboo there, and this feels early for you for Scadaboo at 16. But I mean, he's currently going off at 19 with the post rank rankings updates.
Yeah, it's a little too early for me.
But what else are you gonna do? What are you interested in here? It's
So
kind
where
of
are we at? We're at 204.
yeah.
So 108 was a tier break, and now we got post 203, and it's another tough
I'm
spot.
not sure they want to waste a tier break to RJ Harvey, man.
Okay.
I think after Harvey, it's a tier break.
So 108, 109.
Yep.
Okay. I think this is a break right here. A lot of guys we like.
It certainly is. Yep.
But it's hairy. And so you might get somebody that has like a take here. You might get a Jaden Higgins. You might get a Sampson. I'm sure there'll be a Trey Harris hive. There always has been through the pre-draft process.
Yeah.
You love Scat, but I mean, we've talked about this role. And as much as I think there's a little question mark around the player, I'm going to lean into the role. And I'm going to go with the 5th round running back. I'm going to go with Jaden Blue here at the 204. I don't feel great about it, but I think when you look at this backfield and the lack of juice that it has, Blue's going to be a guy that's going to get plenty of opportunities and we've seen him catch passes out of the backfield at Texas and be explosive as all hell. So
people are acting like Jaden Blue going to the Cowboys just doesn't matter because Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are there. They're like, this is the Deuce Vaughn replacement. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Miles Sanders ain't going to make the roster.
I was like, did you guys watch any of those 3 players last year? Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders, or Javonte Williams? Javonte Williams was utterly unplayable in fantasy football.
Yeah.
He was droppable. Like he was just miserable. I mean, Cody, you and I were having to take these props and prize picks and underdog what did we hit on 61% of those? And it's like we made a lot of money doing it, but do you remember what it was? It's
31 rushing yards?
No, dude, some games it was like 19.5. Don't you remember?
I think
Javonte sucks, but he's not this bad. You know what I mean?
And he still wouldn't hit it.
No, I think he would.
I bet on him twice in the 30s. He never hit it.
And Jaden, it's not like Jaden Blue is small either. He's what did he weigh in at? 204? Okay, so he weighed in a little bit lighter in the combine than he played out at Texas because he wanted to run a little bit faster. But that guy plays at 204, 205. All right. Well, I mean, I'm
What
going.
did Jahmyr Gibbs is 199? It's the same thing.
He can go there. He's going to be the RB1 for the Cowboys.
You know who the college coach was for Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
The college coach for Jahmyr Gibbs
For a year?
was Tashard Choice.
Who was the running back coach for Jaden Blue?
Tashard Choice at Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Who was the running back coach at Texas last year?
That was Tashard Choice for a couple years for Jaden Blue.
Interesting.
That's a good point.
4.34, 4.36, 44 receptions the final year for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Tashard Choice didn't
43 receptions the final year for Jaden Blue.
Tashard Choice didn't take that Cowboys job. He took the Lions job, but either where he would have ended up, he would have been playing with somebody that he coached before. All right. So I'm going Cam Scatterbo here. I'm taking him. It's only just 2 spots ahead of what his ADP looks like it's shaping up as. Love the fit in New York for the Giants. Not that I don't love Tyrone Tracy. I think it's fine, but Scat's built different, man. And I'm done begging. I'm done begging against him. I just am. It's a weird spot here, isn't it?
Can I tell you who I really want to take?
Who? Jaden Higgins?
Yeah.
Over Trey Harris?
Yeah.
So Trey Harris right now, his ADP is right at 16. Where's Higgins? 17. Average ranking of 16.1 versus 16.9. Yeah, I don't mind putting Higgins ahead of Trey Harris if you want to do that.
It's tough, though. I think Harris could really succeed on top of Ladd. But they've got Mike. They like Quentin. I just think that's so disgusting. And I think of Jaden Higgins, and I just see this room is wide open. And it's like, we got Nico over here. We know that. And he's certifiable alpha. And this door is open on this other side for Higgins. And on the inside, we know it's Christian Kirk and Jalen Noel. And I just know Higgins is going to be out there, and I know Higgins is going to eat, and he's going to get the number 2 coverage. And he just has, Adam Thielen ate inside of Stephon Diggs for years in Minnesota, and continues to eat as the number 2. We've seen these number 2s succeed. Even I know the body types are different, but like a number 2. It's a different build in receivers, so don't take this literal, but like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like the number 2 can eat in an offense. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, the number 2 can eat in an offense. Jefferson Addison, the number 2 can eat in an offense. So they've rebuilt the offensive line. I think they're trying to continue to enhance Stroud and bring him back to life after last year's down year. My heart wants me to go Higgins, but my gut tells me to go running back.
What are you going to do?
My gut tells me to go the Tootin route.
Over Dylan Sampson? I don't mind that one bit.
I know my gut tells me, but my heart wants me to go Higgins, and my gut's telling me to go Tootin because I know Tootin's a dog, and talked to him at the Senior Bowl. He's a great guy, just like Bucky. But like, what do we hear from Liam Cohen? He's like, Bucky's awesome. Bucky shows up early, la da 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 da. And it's like they drafted 2 backs. They didn't just draft one running back and be like, oh, we got to get a running back. They went out and got 2 running backs. And as much as I don't love LaQuint Allen, like they went out and got 2 running backs to replace 2 guys that contracts are expiring in the next 2 years. It's like the writing's on the wall, and Tootin's got the explosiveness. I don't know. This team's Team F. I took Tedero in the first. Give me
no,
Tootin.
no. Don't do it. Do it like you're having to make this pick. Like you're still on the clock.
I am. I took Tedero in the first round with this team.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I'm like here. I'm like heart and gut. Like I think Higgins is going to get me targets today, And
You
next
but
year,
you
year
definitely
after,
want Higgins more than Trey Harris.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's not like a mile apart.
Oh, no,
I
I
still
mean,
think Trey Harris can succeed in that offense, but that offense is like, it's
they're ranked back to back. It's fine.
as they should be. I'm gonna take Higgins.
Okay. Well,
Jaden Higgins, 206.
and I'm taking Bashal Tutin to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, if those are, I mean, right? It's like, you think that's a tough choice? It's like that. I'll go ahead and I'll swoop in and take Tutin. I think you make a good point here. And I had Dylan Sampson kind of ahead of him by one spot, but it looks like those ADPs are flipped. So I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll flip them. It's some, that's no skin off my back at all to flip those two guys.
What do you make of some up here at the 208? What do
Yeah.
you make of the comments about Elijah Arroyo as an X receiver?
That he could play X, and that if he would, and they asked him like, well, what about they asked John Schneider like, well, what about the time that he missed? Or no, that wasn't Schneider, that was McDonald. They asked him, what about the time that he missed? And he's like, well, yeah, he missed some time, but if he wouldn't have missed some time, he would have been a top 15 pick. So
I think I'm going to go Arroyo here.
Tight ends, Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, 208, Seattle Seahawks. He's just, everything we saw down there at the Senior Bowl, and he was the fifth tight end off the board in the NFL draft after Ferguson and Taylor. But he also at the Senior Bowl he weighed in like 250, and that was like, I can't remember how much heavier that was than the expectation. I think he was listed like 236 or 237, and the idea that potentially he is playing some type of outside role with Cup and JSN, and Horton can play as the flanker, like whatever they do. Right? I think it's a good room, but that he can probably overtake Noah Fant rather quickly. It's premium. They sound like they love him. I love him. We've loved him. So I'm going to go tight end premium, Elijah Arroyo, 208.
Okay, well, I just had to make a choice here because the cheat sheet was giving me Tyler Shuck as a possibility here. I'm not going to do it, so I don't want to tell anybody else to do it. I think and I don't know if I would even do it with this next one either. Maybe with this next one I would, because I'm going to go. What is Dylan Sampson's current ADP? Are we past where he's going? So right now he's going at 27 overall. So this is still considered early for Dylan Sampson. I don't care. I'm taking him. I like both these Cleveland runners, dude.
Wait, this is early for Sampson?
Yeah, a little bit.
Late.
The current ADP on him right now is like the guys that would have gone after him on the guys that he would have gone after on this one, even in non-tight end premium, was Mason Taylor, Kyle Williams, Jalen Noel, Jack Bash, Tyler Shuck, and Superflex, and Jalen Milroe. Oh, and Trey Harris. But I'm taking Sampson.
All right.
I think it's the Judd. I think it's the Judkins Sampson offense, dude. I really, really do. In Cleveland,
they've kind of told us that with these draft picks. Like you said, they can't lie to you during the draft.
Yeah.
So they're not. I'm gonna go Trey Harris here. I'll take the receiver from the Chargers at the 210. Team J. He joins Colston Loveland, the should have been Charger.
All right. Well, I mean, look, dude. It's like now the conventional wisdom says that anybody would be taking Jalen Noel, Jack Bash, any of these guys. I think this is about where you can start considering Tyler Shuck. But I have Brashard Smith in consideration up here, and I'm flummoxed with the fact that it looks like the fantasy football world is not on board with this, even after the draft. They have him as a guy to take in the end of the fourth round. So we probably need to fix that.
I was going to say my innate thought here with how the cheat sheet is built is that there would be like 3 or 4 open slots between Sampson and the rest of these guys, so that it's like a
Right.
receiver break there for Noel Besh Royals.
A little receiver run, and then you start picking off these running backs that we like through the third round.
Yeah, I think we need to have a break there where it's
So,
Noel Besh and Royals, and then you have those guys side by side with those quarterbacks, and like that's just your little spot.
Yeah,
and then you get back to running back.
Your little reprieve that you're allowed to take wide receiver in this awesome running back group, right? So the tier break to Brashard, where he currently sits, he needs to open up to take the Jalen Royals or the Jalen Knowles or this type of guy, right?
And I probably have like Brashard, like what, by Kyle Williams?
Do you like Jack Besh more than Jalen Knoll when Knoll has to deal with Higgins and Nico?
Yep. That's who I was going to take my next pick.
I do too. I'm taking Jack Besh.
Fuck. Shit. Crap.
Thanks for correcting yourself there. Was the other cuss words. All right. Final pick, Cody. Get us out with this one.
Take us home. Country road. I really wanted Besh there.
In real life, you could probably trade out.
Probably could. I probably could, but who would I be as a fantasy football gamer not to lean all the way in on a guy that I love since day one of this pre-draft process? 6 foot tall, 205 pounds. He's a Kansas City Chief now in the 4th round. 4.42 running, 1.49 10-yard split. He is the archetype. He is Jalen Royals.
This is Anthony Richardson. You're listening to RosterWatch.
This is AJ Brown, and you're listening to RosterWatch.
This is Josh Allen, and you're listening to RosterWatch.